say you're on the road to the other side, my love. But you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. You say you wanna cry, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose.
What is going on, YouTube? Today we are going to review a 2013 Nissan, my first Z-related product from their lineup, and it is parked right there. Let's go take it for a test drive. So we've just closed the door. I've got my 370Z key fob here. Let's go ahead and push the famous push start ignition button. So the first thing that I noticed once I sat in the 370Z was how much lower and how much further you sit back than the previous Nissan GTR review that I did a couple weeks back. I know this is a roadster, but this, like I said, this is the first time that I've actually sat in one, so I really wasn't expecting it. But you know, once I sat in it, I thought to myself, man, I really cannot wait to get this out on the road, take it through the twisties, and see how well it's going to perform. Nissan did a great job when it comes to the gauge clusters of these cars, the 370Zs. Here you see that the tachometer is located front and center. This is a driver's car, and you're gonna always wanna know where you're revving the engine out to. To the right of the tachometer, you're gonna see your mile per hour gauge. This particular car has close to 40,000 miles on it, but you can't really tell that from the exterior of the car. It's held up so great over the course of the years. The one thing that I did notice about this particular cluster, and like I said, this is the first time I've been in a 370Z, is how Nissan decided to actually make the gas gauge digital as well as the temperature gauge itself. One of the coolest parts of the interior, at least for me, is how they decided to add your voltage meter, and then you have your clock. I just think that's such a cool feature to have and to be able to look at, when you're driving, as a daily driver, during the daytime, or even at night. I just think it's really cool and sets itself apart. If you've sat in both the 370Z and a Nissan GTR, chances are you've already picked up on a couple similar features. For example, the same exact paddle shifter, some of the interior padding, even though it's not as premium, where they're at, the touch to feel points. For example, this padding where your knee is, the exact same thing you can find in a Nissan GTR. Once the 370Z is put in reverse, you'll notice that a rear view assist camera pops up. Really wish I had this feature on my car. It can make parking into the airport garages a heck of a lot easier, but wanted to call that out in case you were not aware of that. I'm not sure if all 370Zs have that in there. I know some folks decide to upgrade their mirror for wider, visibility, but if you've got this, it's definitely worth keeping. So this 2013 Nissan 370Z is in, without question, my favorite color. It's magma red. It's kind of reminds me of my old Honda Civic Si that I used to have, that I showed you guys on the previous video that I did. But the magma red's a dark, deep, rich red with that metallic gold flake in it. And to me, it's my personal, favorite. You guys probably like the solid red or the black or the silver. Everybody's got their own opinion, but for me, it just kind of brings back that nostalgic look. It's different. It kind of reminds me of the new red that the Nissan GTR team came out with in 2016. I believe that's the first year they came out with it. But this is the first time I've ever driven a Nissan 370Z, and I gotta tell you, I personally feel like it's more of a driver's car. I know you've probably heard that before in other car reviews, but this car, to me, I feel like you can drive it versus the car driving you, similar to the Nissan GTR. I know you've heard that over and over again, but to me, it's the honest truth. I feel like you have more control over this car than you do the GTR. Now, when you get on this car at high speeds, I'll be honest with you, I've got on it once or twice, and I kind of felt the rear end skip a little. You know, but that's to be expected. This is a roadster, wheel-wheel drive car. You know, it's a car that's, you know, fun to drive for $30,000. That's the average price tag on one of these brand new. You can have a ton of fun with these. They are a great daily driver. The cool thing about this car, in my personal opinion, is how well it handles in the twisties. You know, I've got the GoPro mounted on the top of the car and on the side of the car for this video, but hopefully that will kind of capture, you know, how well it does. I'm coming into a twisty right now, so let me get on it and get you guys to see my reaction. Yeah, this thing, it just wants to go. It hugs and goes, and like I said, it's a driver's car, and it's so much fun. Similar to the Nissan GTR, this 370Z comes equipped with the Rays wheels from Rays Engineering. They are, however, different from the GTR, but still, you know, the GTR is a bigger wheel size. This is just your standard 18x9 wheel that comes with it. This particular model, this 370, the owner decided to put, I believe, Michelin tires on it, and I haven't had the first issue with it breaking traction at all, to be honest with you. Besides the performance in the gas pedal, if you will, the brake pedal, you know, you guys already know this, but the car comes stock with Brembo brakes, and it's been a while since I've been in a car that's had these meaty brakes and the brake pads themselves, and man, it's awesome. My WRX doesn't have it. You know, the brakes in my car are just horrific, and you can literally come from, I don't know what the spec is on this, but as soon as I hit the brakes, man, it just grabs, and it's a great feeling to know that you can go fast, but you've also got the brake power, or the stoppage, if you will, to help you come to stop whenever you need it. I was coming through a turn earlier, and I was probably going in a little too fast, and I hit those brakes, and boom, right where I needed to be. A lot of folks just assume that the 370 in the name just means 370 horsepower. And that's the furthest from the truth. So let's take a quick timeout. The 370 in its name actually stands for 3.7 liters. Doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that if you had a 350Z, it was 3.5 liters. Time in. So hopefully I taught you something there. The 370 actually stands for the 3.7 liters in the engine. Many people have a difficult time finding which part of the car they like the most. Many people think the rear is the sexiest part on this vehicle. I, however, love the front. You have the standard headlights that cut back into the fenders, just give it a sleek, sexy look. You have the standard daytime LED running lights, which actually might be my favorite part on the exterior part of the car. You know, it's just a different look. You know, they haven't had that in the 350 model, to my knowledge, and the 370Z on this model, the 2013, has it, and it just gives it such a stunning look, if you will, when it's rolling down the highway during the day or even at night. You just know that this thing means business when you're in it and you're rolling up to somebody at the stoplight. If you really want to have some fun, however, there's a corner coming up here. I've already taken the traction control off, and we'll see what we can do and not get into too much trouble. A lot of people launch these things, yep, and have fun with it that way, but I prefer to take the traction control off and let it get a little happy in the rear end a little bit. If you were to ask me, John, what are the pros and cons to this 370Z? And I would probably say pros, if you're looking to get one, like I said, brand new, they're about $30,000. You can get them for, you know, 20, maybe even less than that, depending on what year model you get right now. But you know, pros, I would say phenomenal handling, you know, to be honest with you. It's a great feature of the car. Like I said earlier in the video, I feel like this is more of a driver's car. You know, the GTR just feels like the car's controlling you a little bit, and it's a phenomenal car. But this car, you kind of feel like you have a little bit more control over. The cockpit itself, how it kind of wraps around you a little bit. The seats, I thought the seats would be a little better. Not that they're bad, but, you know, when you're sitting in an Evo or, you know, another performance car, STI, those seats just kind of hug you a little bit more. Maybe I just need to bulk up, to be honest with you, but the seats I felt like would hug you a little more. So that's one of them. The interior feel, the touch points, I've already gone over as well earlier in the video. The motor itself is a very strong motor. I was surprised. You know, this V6 3.7 liter, 332 horsepower output, 270 foot-pounds of torque. I wasn't expecting the jolt that I got from the motor. I didn't really know a lot about it beforehand, or like I said, I haven't really driven a 370Z before now, so getting behind the wheel, seeing what it's capable of doing has just been a real treat. On the cons list of the car, there really isn't much. I mean, the only thing I can think of, you know, when I come to a stop and I need to look, you know, I have to look up. The blind spots are pretty bad, you know, depending on where you're at, what the traffic is. The back windows, I don't even know why they're there. Not that it's a bad thing. The car, it looks awesome with them. You just really can't see them. If you glance to the side, you can't see them because of the headrest. So interior wise, it really doesn't affect you. Exterior, it looks phenomenal. Road noise, without question, is on the list as, you know, a con. You know, when you're going 80 miles an hour, you really have to speak up. Hello, brakes. Sorry. Yep, brakes. Thank God I've got the Brembos. You really have to speak up when you're talking to somebody, or if you're on the phone, you know, you have to tell the other person to speak up even louder if you got the volume turned up all the way. I've already dealt with that once in the video. I had to turn it off. So road noise is definitely on that list. And then the last thing that I can think of, and this is just being, you know, really stretching it, but the V6 engine noise, I felt like that would be on there for some people, so I listed it. Not that it's that big of an issue for me, but, you know, a lot of people say the same thing for the GTR, and that's because they're being nitpicky about the car. But the refinement of the motor, how it sounds, you know, I think the exhaust on this car stock sounds awesome, but it's something that some people are going to call out, the refinement of the V6 engine. So I just went ahead and listed that in the video as well. Wanted to give a special shout out to a future family member, you know who you are, that allowed me to drive his 370Z. The car is phenomenal. It's a definitely a fun daily driver for sure. Has great, man, wow, great torque, great horsepower. You know, 370Z is a heck of a car, and I couldn't have been more proud to be able to review a vehicle like this. So thank you very much for allowing me to review this vehicle. That being said, if you guys haven't checked out Boost Creek Cafe, my channel, before, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I've got a couple of other videos on the channel. I did a GTR review not too long ago, reviewed my Subaru WRX as well. So go ahead and check those out, and we'll be seeing you again. Peace.